Hi. Usually I don't give titles to these talks, but today I felt led to call this one, This is God. That's quite a lot to live up to because it sounds like we're putting a label on God, and those of us in New Thought believe that God is truly limitless. Well, let's talk about that. Most people think of God as love, right? And that's certainly true. But even that definition is putting a limit on God. Our discussion of this shouldn't be an intellectual one, because we could be here for days and weeks and months talking about the different labels that man puts on God or different religions put on God. So I'd like to attack this in a little bit different way, and that is through feelings. Because feelings are something that we all experience much in the same way. Let's talk, for example, about what God is and is not. God is not, of course, a bearded man in a chair sitting up in the clouds that's waiting to judge us for our sins, if you will. What God is that essence within each one of us. And God is always. God is universal in nature. And to do this, we try to draw analogies. If we were to picture ourselves floating in deep space and looking around us far beyond our solar system, that limitness is probably the easiest most of us can come to putting a handle on what God is. If we were to think of the pictures we've all seen about a chicken in the embryo state growing, that chicken grows from center to circumference, much like we've seen pictures of a human fetus growing from those few first cells that replicate itself from center to circumference. We think about in nature the way plants grow, the seed germinating, again from center to circumference. Or another analogy might be our family tree, starting with our great-great-grandparents and exponentially spreading out from center to circumference. It could also be used in the analogy of the origins of man, starting from a certain point in our globe and expanding outward to all the different regions and races and religions. Well, again, those are intellectual exercises. Again, we're trying to draw an analogy and attach a personality to God. We don't want to do that. If you think about those times when you've had feelings beyond description, that's what God is. If you think about the times you've laid on your back in the middle of pine trees and looked up into those limitless stars and you had that feeling in your chest, that is God. When you think about the times you've held a newborn baby in your hands and that limitless joy that comes out of that infant child, that is God. When you feel that overwhelming euphoria rising up, welling up within you at the gazing of a wonderful sunrise or sunset, or the shafts of light coming down through the clouds, that is God. When you see in person endless waves out in the middle of the ocean, and you feel so tiny among them, and all you can see is ocean all around you, that is God. That same essence we all can share within us. When we see the tiniest cells through a microscope replicating themselves, that is God. When we see these giant sea creatures, these whales swimming throughout the ocean, that is God. The ocean that supports them is God. Everything we see is God. And that essence is within each one of us. That essence wells up every time we feel that warmth, when we take the time to be still and acknowledge it and turn our eyes away from the distractions of the world. That feeling inside of you and me, that is God. So try to close your mind to those labels, close your mind to the dogma of all the different religions, and experience God within yourself All you have to do is look around you in nature. That is God. Blessings to you all.